In March, the number of Canadians, for example, returning home by car from the United States fell nearly 32% compared to the same month in 2024. And that is the third consecutive month of year-over-year declines, the steepest plunge, in fact, since the pandemic. Remember when the borders were essentially shut down.
We are basically hostages in an economic war right now. And
how are we going to be able to keep the business open?
One store in Manitoba says its situation is dire.
You know, Canadians right now are in a strange situation because, of course, there is the whole border issue, there's the Trump issue, there's the tariff issue, there's the buy Canadian sentiment, and there is the dollar. Duty-free shops right across the country. You've probably been in one before. There are 52 of them at land borders and at international airports. They're reporting a massive drop in business, those land ones, particularly as Canadians stop going.
Meanwhile, the number of Canadians traveling to the U.S. is plummeting.
Yeah, the stats around this are really interesting. Statistics Canada says the number of Canadian residents flying back from the United States is down more than 13%. So that's compared to a year ago. And according to American Customs and Border Patrol, land crossings are actually at their lowest point since the pandemic.
The Border Mayors Alliance, which is made up of 8 border city mayors, including Fort Erie's and Niagara-on-the-Lakes, is calling for urgent federal support for businesses facing reduced cross-border travel following President Trump's tariffs.
It's more than just a dividing line. It's a shared space where families, communities, and businesses have thrived for generations, thanks to the ability to move back and forth across the border with ease.
I've had to fund the business myself out of my personal savings to keep the lights on.
It's a differentiator for communities like ours that are border cities that have these types of operations that employ people in the community. We are a recipient of a proceed of the revenue of all goods that are sold in that duty free. That comes back to the city in the form of a dividend from the tunnel operation, which means we have to collect less property taxes from all of the property taxpayers across the city.
I had one day last week where I had a negative $67 day at my store because someone came in to do a refund. That's how dire it is.
Bissonnette spoke Friday at a Border Mayors Alliance news conference urging Ottawa to step up with direct support similar to the loans offered during the pandemic shutdown.
We're not looking for a lot of money. We just want to be able to stay solvent.
Without it, he's not sure his store will be open 6 months from now.
They say their communities are disproportionately affected by the tariff war, and they want governments to help them through the tough times. 2 New Brunswick mayors were part of that group.
Pay taxes, all the things that come with running a small business. Didn't expect this. Sorry about that. Have really good people that work for me, taking care of it for me while I do other things. I haven't collected a paycheck from my business since June of last year. Now it's getting to the point where I'm wondering how much longer can I pay my staff?
Today, we are asking all federal parties to include 3 simple, actionable measures in their 2025 platforms. Number 1, targeted financial support to help these businesses survive immediate tariff-related impacts. Number 2, a ministerial directive to ensure all government departments consistently apply export status to duty-free shops. And number 3, excise tax alignment to modernize tax treatment and level the playing field with our U.S. competitors. We are ready to work with all parties to make this happen, and we ask them to make a public commitment to adopt these measures in their 2025 platforms.
Turn of events, you could say, a sad update when it comes to duty-free shops and what we're seeing with the border.
Short term, everyone is looking at the hours that they're opening. They're looking at cutting back on shifts for our staff, cutting back on expenses, most definitely. But we're really concerned more about what the long-term effects would be like in this industry.
So you lose 75% of your customers really because of a political movement. How do you navigate that?
I don't know. I really don't know. The government really needs to have our backs right now while we weather this storm. I mean, we're in a situation that's of no fault of our own. We're all good business people. I'm second generation in this. They're family businesses, all privately owned and operated. And, we feel like we are basically hostages in an economic war right now, and we don't have an opportunity to pivot. I can't sell anywhere else. I have to sell to people coming into my store, going right into the United States.
Talk to me about the fact that
We've definitely seen a decrease in the amount of traffic that is crossing the border.
We're still paying down debts and all this kind of stuff, and then we get hit by this next wave of people not crossing the border, and it's It's extremely challenging right now.
La disparition de notre clientèle. Connaissez-vous un commerce qui réussit à rester en affaires sans clients? Les produits doivent être exportés aux États-Unis. Donc, si on n'a pas de gens qui se rendent aux États-Unis, ben, on ne peut pas vendre rien.
I've put summer orders on hold, and they want to know ASAP whether they are to produce and deliver those products for summer season. And so it's kind of all coming to a head that I've committed to people that, I will have my plans in place before the end of the month.
Yeah, and it's just not happening right now, yeah.
Michael Gruich and his family have owned this duty-free store in Niagara Falls, Ontario for almost 40 years.
We're solely reliant on our tourists.
And you're just not seeing tourists?
We're not seeing it, yeah.
Outside of the COVID-19 pandemic, he tells me these last few months have been the toughest his store has ever seen.
A year ago today, what would it look like here?
Our parking lot would be filled, but right now there's 2 or 3 cars in the parking lot, and that's it. Sad to see.
It was the worst Easter we ever had. We were down pretty close to 80% in business. Like even look at today, it's a beautiful weather outside. There's no traffic. The store is empty. The shelves are full.
When the tariffs first started coming out in the news, we saw an immediate drop in traffic.
That's Tanya Lee, the president of Canada's Duty Free Association. She says Michael's shop isn't the only one seeing this. In fact, it's something all 32 Canadian-owned duty-free shops across the U.S.-Canada border are experiencing.
How is business this long weekend?
The business had been terrible. What we expected was nowhere near the numbers that we produced last year. In fact, as of the end of Monday, our business was down about close to 80% from Friday till Monday compared to the last Easter weekend.
And so it's definitely the trade war. It's the rhetoric that's coming from it, the 51st state, and that's really created a sense of nationalism and pride across Canada, where Canadians don't want to go into the States.
The Emerson Duty Free Shop is feeling the impact of Canada's elbows up sentiment.
Except those elbows hit us in the face, before they get to the Americans.
Owner Simon Resch's family has been running the shop for more than 4 decades, but now he says it's at risk of closing for good. Last month, he's lost well over half his customers.
We can't sell to anybody except people who are leaving Canada going to the United States. We can't pivot our businesses. We can't target other markets, other consumers.
And he's not alone.
It's like our sales went off the cliff.
Frontier Duty Free Association Executive Director Barbara Barrett says the duty-free sector is in a full-blown crisis.
Are staying in Canada and spending here, or they're bypassing the States and they're going to places like Mexico or down to the islands or going to Europe instead.
If that doesn't change soon, Michael back in the Falls worries his shop could be next, and hopes, unlike the rest of us, that bumper-to-bumper traffic becomes the norm once again.
We don't want to be the 51st state, but we want to be a great partner to the Americans and our friends over there.
Abe Tak-Tak, the owner of the duty-free shop in Windsor, Ontario, is worried.
I think about how are we going to be able to keep the business open, keep people employed, and keep the lights on.
We'll lose 1/3 of our stores in the coming months if we don't have some sort of support or intervention.